Hey guys, it's Libby, and I just got a box from Book Outlet, which I think means it is my cue to do a book haul for the summer. However, I did get a couple of other books as well, so let's see how many of those I can get through before I give in to my materialistic urges. This also means that I will have to take my thumbnail at the end of the video once all these books are unboxed, as opposed to at the beginning, which is what I normally do. So if I'm like wearing different clothes in the thumbnail, it's because I forgot. But anyway, the first three that I'm going to show you are actually presents from David. Hi David. Thanks for getting me the books. He's giving a thumbs up. And so capitalism works, folks. So he takes the metro to work, and outside the metro there's like a bunch of tiny stores, like, I don't know, 10 square feet? 10 square feet. Really tiny shops.
No, 100 square feet.
100 square feet.
10 square
They're
feet.
10 by 10? I thought they were smaller than 10 by 10.
Yeah.
They're 10 by 10? Okay. Anyway.
10 square feet would be like 3 feet by 3 feet.
I know, in my mind they're really small.
No, they're like 100 square feet.
Okay. 10 by 10 shops, and most of them sell like ice cream or falafel or the sort of thing that fits typically in a 10 by 10 square, but there's also a tiny bookstore, and so he walks by a tiny bookstore and will occasionally pick me up something on his way home from work. I have the best life. And the first one is Salt to the Sea by Ruta Sepetys. This is a World War II novel, which is not something I have typically been interested in, mainly because World War II novels fall into a couple of categories. There is the war front story, which I'm not that interested in. There is the Holocaust narrative. They are really, really depressing, and so I mainly just don't go for those. And then there is the London Blitz story, and let me tell you, I tried so hard to get through Night Watch by Sarah Waters, but oh god, it was just so boring. I don't care about London during the Blitz. Sorry. But this one is about something that does not often get told. It's about a bunch of refugees who are fleeing Eastern Europe. And they get on a boat and the boat sinks. Not spoilers, because it's an actual historical boat. The spoilery part, which I don't know about, would be, which of them live? Let's find out. Of course, I will be reading you the first sentence. The first sentence of this one is, "Guilt is a hunter." He also got me The Invention of Hugo Cabret by Brian Selznick. This is a real chunker of a book, however, it is like mostly pictures, with occasional small bits of words. This is the book that inspired the film Hugo, which I have not seen, but I saw the trailer for, so I'm pretty sure it's about a boy who is like an orphan, or at least doesn't want to live with his parents, in like first half of the 20th century, possibly late 19th century Paris, and he lives in a train station. Is it the Orsay? When did the Orsay become a museum and not a train station? I don't know. Maybe the first sentence will tell us. It is. Okay, I'm going to read you the first sentence of the introduction because the first sentence of the book appears to be moon. But the introduction is by a fictional character, not by the author. If it's by the author and it says, you know, it says the author's name down here, then the introduction is not part of the narrative. But this is Professor H. Alcofrisbas. That's a name. So I'm guessing is not a real person. So it counts as part of the narrative. Anyway, first sentence. The story I am about to share with you takes place in 1931, there we go, under the roofs of Paris. And then just the other day, David showed up with Cold Comfort Farm by Stella Gibbons. This is the lovely Penguin Classics edition. There is a film of this, which I have seen, but it was quite a while ago, and so I don't really remember what was going on. But basically there's this young woman named Flora Post. She's 19 years old when both of her parents die, and she goes to live with some cousins of hers out in the countryside. And it's kind of a parody of like the gothic melodramatic English countryside story. So all of her cousins' family have like absurd Well, when you read this book, they're absurd, overdone problems. When you read, you know, Jane Eyre, you just sort of roll with it. And Flora very sensibly solves all of their problems. In case you're curious, this was first published in 1932. I'm not sure if it's also set in the 30s. And the first sentence is, "The education bestowed on Flora Post by her parents had been expensive, athletic, and prolonged, and when they died within a few weeks of one another during the annual epidemic of the influenza or Spanish plague, which occurred in her 20th year, she was discovered to possess every art and grace save that of earning her own living." And then this book is one that I was compelled to buy from Amazon. It's forced at gunpoint. I needed to buy an extra phone charger, an extra piece for my phone charger. I don't remember what it was. And it was really tiny, and like Amazon will not ship you really tiny things. They'll only send like larger boxes. So they're like, you have to buy something else that is not tiny. I said, oh gosh darn it, I guess that means it's time to get Raising Steam by Terry Pratchett. This is the third and final book in the Moist Von Lipwig series, which is part of the Discworld series, and it's about Moist Von Lipwig. I know some people don't like the word moist for some reason, so I take every opportunity to say it as often as I can. The Moist books are about how Moist sort of revolutionizes various technical institutions. That's not the right word. The first book, Going Postal, is about how he fixes the postal system. The second book, Making Money, Moist takes on the banks and the mint, and in this one he takes on the steam engine. These books feel a little bit different than the rest of the Discworld books. They're kind of steampunky, and they feel like they're in a parody of the 19th century, whereas most of the other Discworld books feel like they're in a parody of the Middle Ages or like generic Western conceptions of fairy tale lands. And the first sentence, I'm very excited. It's definitely not going to be a spoiler, even though it's this is the third book in the series, because Terry Pratchett always starts off his narratives very macroscopically, and then we zoom in. So, first sentence. "It is hard to understand nothing, but the multiverse is full of it." I told you we'd start big. Multiverse. Okay, now it's time to do this. I should probably get scissors. I'm lazy. Let's see how far we can get with the seam ripper. Okay. Now I have the official book outlet paper, and let's get stuck into it. Okay, what do I do first? David, how should I go through the books? How should I order them?
You should do it from the top to the bottom. You should do it as they are displayed in the box.
Okay, clockwise or counterclockwise?
Is there only one layer of box?
There's one layer, but there's like 3 piles. Or there's multiple layers, but there's 3 piles.
Multiple layers, 3 sets. I would just do it in clockwise order.
Clockwise?
From top
From top
to bottom.
to bottom. Okay, that's what we'll be doing it. So the first book I have is God Help the Child by Toni Morrison. Toni Morrison, you may have heard of her. She's modern classicist. Lots of people like her. She's very important. And I haven't read anything by her, and I thought maybe I should do that. And this book, well, a lot of her books seem to have a lot of child abuse, and this one seemed to have less child abuse. That's pretty much why I went for this. It doesn't have no child abuse, though, because it is about colorism, which is prejudice largely within the black community, between light-skinned people and dark-skinned people. And so this is about a girl who is dark-skinned, but her mother is light-skinned, and everyone else in the mother's family was light-skinned, and she has difficulty loving a dark-skinned child. I'm sure this will cause no problems for her future life, and she'll be totally normal and fine. The first sentence is, the dedication is for you. Thank you, Toni. She wrote a book for me. First sentence is, it's not my fault. Okay, then we have The Gigantic Beard That Was Evil by Stephen Collins. Okay, first off, with a title like that, how do you not? Also, I didn't know this, but it has a super matte cover finish. So I'm just gonna do this for a bit. You can leave if you want. So this is a graphic novel, so hopefully it won't be too hard for me to find a first sentence. And it's about a very normal car alarm that went off the middle of a video. Okay, it's about a very normal town where everything is orderly and proper and very much here as opposed to there. Can't be having with there. And there is a man who is completely bald, and then presumably he grows a beard and it's evil. The first sentence is, beneath the skin of everything is something nobody can know. Next one is, oh my god, also super match. It's not quite as super match as the other one. I didn't know that there were different levels. Anyway, this is The Teleportation Accidents by Ned Bowman. This was like as close to an impulse buy as it gets for me. I heard about this in a list of weird novels that was posted on Book Riot. And I was like, I'm up for weird novels. I one time enjoyed a book about a teenage girl who kills a man, but maybe, and then he dissolves into water and she drinks him. I can handle the weird. So this book, as far as I can tell, is like a noir time travel story about trying to get laid and whether or not Satan, like, killed this Italian Renaissance figure. Why not? The first sentence, this should be interesting. Okay, this is set in 1931. Are all of my books going to be set in Europe in the 30s? Maybe. Oh no, that other one was in the 40s. And I only have, this is my third 30s book. Oh boy, it's long. When you knock a bowl of sugar onto your host's carpet, it is a parody of the avalanche that killed his mother and father. Just as the duck's beak that your new girlfriend's lips form when she attempts a seductive pout is a quotation of the quacking noise your last girlfriend made during sex. Okay, then we have, it's a chunker, this is longer than I thought. We have Marianne by Daphne du Maurier. Did I buy this solely because it has Daphne du Maurier's name on the cover? Yes. So this book is actually nonfiction. It's the sort of story that I would be like, that's dumb, who wants to read that if it were fiction? But because it's nonfiction, I'm like, ooh, what an exciting tale. So this is about Daphne's great-grandmother? Maybe there's another great in there. Yeah, who like grew up poor in East London or something and then became the mistress of several powerful men and led a glamorous life of glamour. So yeah, the first sentence is, years later, when she had gone and was no longer part of their lives, the thing they remembered about her was her smile. Okay, the next one we have is Boy, Snow, Bird by Helen Oyeyemi. So this is a Snow White retelling that is set in Massachusetts, I think, in the 1950s, and it's about a woman named Boy, not confusing, who comes to a new town and gets married to a widower who has a little girl, and Boy never thought that she would be a wicked stepmother sort of person until she and her new husband have their own child who is black. And as it turns out, her husband and his daughter had been passing as white because they are very light-skinned blacks. Colorism again. The first sentence is, nobody ever warned me about mirrors, so for many years I was fond of them and believed them to be trustworthy. I like that one. Then we have, very excitingly, The Shepherd's Crown by Terry Pratchett. I thought I was going to be excited, but now I just want to cry. This is Terry Pratchett's last, this is the last Discworld book. It's not fully Terry Pratchett's last book because the series that he's publishing with Stephen Baxter, the Long Earth series, is publishing, possibly has just published its final book, or maybe is about to later this year. But this is definitely the last Discworld book. It's in the Tiffany Aching series, and I'm in the middle of the Tiffany Aching series right now, so I needed to buy this before I got to it. And I was kind of waiting for it to come out in paperback, but I was able to get it on Book Outlet for cheaper than a normal paperback would have been anyway. And my Tiffany Aching collection, I don't have We Free Men here, but they are all from different sort of styles, so it's okay that this one doesn't match. So I've only read the first 2 books in the Tiffany Aching series. This one is the 5th book, so I don't really know what's going to be happening in it. Let's read the first sentence, and hopefully it won't be a spoiler. It's Pratchett, it won't be a spoiler. It was born in the darkness of the Circle Sea. At first, just a soft, floating thing washed back and forth by tide after tide. And then we have a book that I'm very excited about. It is the first in a trilogy, and the next ones are not published, so that means I probably actually won't read it for a while. Sorcerer to the Crown by Zen Cho. You probably heard about it. It was giving me definite Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell feel, so it was like, I need that. It's also about institutionalized magic in Regency England. Yes, I like that. Okay, the first sentence is, the meeting of the Royal Society of Unnatural Philosophers was well underway, and the entrance hall was almost empty. And last but not least, my peer pressure buy. Basically everybody that I watch on YouTube has bought this and is super excited about it. It is A Natural History of Dragons by Marie Brennan. This is the first of the memoirs of Lady Trent, which is an ongoing series. There's definitely 4 books out. I'm not sure what percentage of the whole series that is. I think there's only 5. You probably know if you're watching this. So this is also a fantasy of manners about a kick-ass lady adventurer. There is a map, and it is not a map of a place I've ever heard of, so I don't think that this takes place in our world. It's about, ooh, my cat jumped into a box. Are you having fun in the box, Nova? I took all the things out of it. Okay. It's about Lady Trent, who studies dragons and travels the world and probably encounters sexism. So the first sentence is, not a day goes by that the post does not bring me at least one letter from a young person, or sometimes one not so young, who wishes to follow in my footsteps and become a dragon naturalist. Which would be like the most amazing first sentence ever if the title were not what it were, because it was like, dragon naturalist, what? Tell me more about that. But I'm like, oh, it's definitely about a dragon naturalist. So those are the 12 books that I got this summer. I'll see you next fall.